Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning, and that is always a good morning. I love Fridays, heading into the weekend, and this is Daybreak. It is the 23rd of May, Friday. Yesterday was budget day. I'm not going to get into the budget because I know that you've just woken up and you probably don't want to go back to sleep again. Budgets can kind of be like totally over your head. You're just waiting to see what the real life impact is of the budget. But there was one interesting decision that was made, and that was that state radio, Radio NZ, which is unfortunately deeply left-leaning, has received reduced funding. Do you know, and this is not a joke, the government currently funds Radio New Zealand 66.6 million a year. Yeah, 666. Okay, who thought of that figure? 66.6 million a year. But anyway, they are going to take off around 5 million a year. That's 7% of the total budget of Radio New Zealand. So they're going to have to do some tightening of the purse strings. And apparently they said that it was because they wanted the company to deliver the same efficiency and value for money as the rest of the public sector. Well, if that was the case, maybe we should actually just commercialise Radio New Zealand. And they are based on merit, like News Talk ZB and other commercial stations. And here's the interesting thing. The Media and Communications Minister, Paul Goldsmith, from the government said, I expect Radio New Zealand to improve audience reach, trust and transparency. Wow, less funding and actually asking for increased accountability. That is a really new one. So that is going to be interesting to see. Speaking of the budget, I did watch parts of it, just preparing for political playback with Simon O'Connell last night, and this was probably the funniest bit.
The budget invests $480 million more to support police on the front line to crack down on crime and keep our communities safe. We will not be defunding the police.
Yeah, that was a slight one at the Greens, wasn't it? We will not be defunding the police. Very good, well done. So that was a bit of a funny from the budget. Anyway, let's move on to more serious issues. In the Herald this morning is a story about a brothel that is running in an Auckland apartment. They can't evict the people, and part of the problem is that the tenancy tribunal can't get the information that they need. The building manager doesn't want to share certain information. But apparently there are texts going around showing that a sex worker is operating, a prostitute is operating from these apartments, central apartments. And apparently there's CCTV footage as well of clients moving around the building. There's also a series of online advertisements, which includes screenshots of photos of an Asian woman advertising her services as a prostitute from the building. So it sounds like it's happening. Remember that this apartment building will have families and children, and there is a brothel running from this building. But under the law that was passed back in 2003, these are called SUBs, which are small owner-operated brothels. We always said they were problematic because they could be in residential areas and by sensitive sites such as schools and kindergartens and playgrounds. And you've basically got people turning up wanting to find the prostitute. There is the noise, there is a nuisance. We used to have families contacting us, and it's still going on. And it's partly illegal. The only way you can get rid of them is to prove that they're a nuisance or that they're exploiting workers. Look, the decriminalisation of prostitution was a win for pimps. That's all. It didn't protect prostitutes because prostitutes will always be exploited. They're always vulnerable, and it's sexual abuse. And here we are running in an Auckland apartment, and there are children and families present. And those people who ushered in that law should hang their head in shame. Another story is obviously the guy who decided to have a verbal volley at Winston Peters as he got off the train at the Wellington train station. Now, look, I don't want to get into too much detail about this, but the interesting thing, which is called out in this post on Twitter, on X, is that the media have not named the guy that did this, that gave the verbal volley to Winston Peters. They haven't named him. But remember the way that they named the radio DJ who turned up to the drag queen protest with Destiny that time. Oh yes, his name was all over the media. And there was actually another example in 2021 during the conversion therapy law ban that was going through Parliament. An Auckland transport manager posted a message to a Facebook group expressing some concerns about the conversion therapy ban law. And it turned into an employment issue due to complaints from activists. The media named and shamed him. You'll never guess who it was. It was a guy called Stephen Rainbow, who is now the Human Rights Commissioner. So the media will go after people they don't like and name and shame them. But in this particular example, they won't. Interestingly, anybody who does research will find that the guy who did this verbal volley at Winston at the train station is actually part of the Rainbow group of his workplace and celebrates all those LGBT QWERTY days. And so you can see why he doesn't like Winston Peters. This was an interesting story that I saw, surprisingly, in the Guardian newspaper, which is a rabid left, so it's even more interesting that they printed it. It's by Dr. Lucy Folkes, who is an academic psychologist at the University of Oxford. They research mental health and social development in adolescence. And she's the author of The Coming of Age, How Adolescence Shapes Us. And she says this, on the face of it, mental health lessons in schools seemed like an excellent idea. Young people's mental health is worse now than it was in the past, and one-to-one treatment is hard to access. But some studies have found that universal mental health lessons actually make things worse. There are now high-quality studies showing that school lessons based on, listen to this, mindfulness, dialectical behavioural therapy and general mental health awareness led to a small increase in symptoms of mental health difficulties. There is evidence of other bad outcomes too, such as decreased pro-social behaviour or decreased relationship quality with parents. And basically they're saying, look, and the idea that mental health lessons in schools are a good idea, but the problem is one size does not fit all. Look, you could use this for sex education as well. The suggestive nature of it, one size doesn't fit all, doesn't take into account the values of the families, the religious beliefs, and also, as they say, in every class there will be students who already have significant health problems. This could trigger them, but also what they really need is one-to-one professional help. So they're not saying that people shouldn't get mental health help in schools. It's just that this mindfulness of all things may not be achieving, and of course may not be achieving what it's set out to. And of course it's the same with suggesting to kids that they might have gender dysphoria, that if they're not happy with their body, maybe they're the other sex, and maybe they should be confused, chemicalized and castrated in the name of gender transitioning. It's this rapid onset group mentality and being part of a group and saying, oh, well, maybe I've got that problem as well, miss. And as you can see, negative outcomes. So it's been called out. It's a very interesting article. Just on the issue of sport, you probably won't know this guy. He used to play for Chelsea. His surname is Matic. He's a Serbian. And he got in trouble because you know how they say that the football bodies say that you can't wear political stuff on the pitch. Remember I did that McBlog where that Liverpool player who took off his shirt when he scored a goal and his shirt said, I belong to Jesus. No, you can't have that. You can't wear the rainbow armband if you put I love Jesus on it because that's political. But you can wear Black Lives Matter. And Matic, who was playing for a French team, apparently it was a league-wide initiative to mark International Day against homophobia, biphobia and transphobia. And the players had to wear this rainbow-coloured sleeve patch to promote inclusion and raise awareness about LGBTQ+. Yes, they need lots more awareness, don't they? Not. Anyway, he got in trouble. He refused to wear it. And it just, once again, it shows the hypocrisy that you can wear Black Lives Matter, you can wear rainbow, but you dare not say anything about Jesus, anything Christian, and you'll get in trouble. That is the hypocrisy of the woke. Now, Family Matters has just a new episode that I've put down today, and I've spoken to this guy called Keith Graves, who is from the United States, and he's an expert in drug policy, and he exposes exactly what is happening in New Zealand, as has happened in a number of US states, in terms of liberalising drugs around law, medicinal, then onto recreational use of like cannabis, and then onto legalisation of all drugs. And yeah, it's good discussion. Check it out. That has just landed on our YouTube account and on our website as well. Also in the news, some good news here. There was a budget also happening in the United States, which Trump called the Big Beautiful Budget or something like that. And as part of it, they have removed funding for Planned Parenthood, which is the abortion provider and also providing puberty blockers and hormone therapy for gender-confused kids. And apparently the US funds Planned Parenthood $2 million every day. Planned Parenthood kill 400,000 unborn children in the womb every year. And, well, a Planned Parenthood, which is like family planning, although family planning, what do they call themselves now? Sexual Health Aotearoa, I think it is. Be aware of that. They've changed their name to try and fool you, but it's still family planning and it's still part of Planned Parenthood. But anyway, Planned Parenthood is losing its funding from the government, about a quarter of its overall funding. It'll get stuff from commercial woke companies as well and from users. But the good news is that it will be a lot smaller service, and hopefully it will go under if we all hold our breath. Now, the other thing is that there's been a lot of coverage around this whole South Africa thing and Trump's meeting with the president of South Africa, concerns about what is happening to white farmers in South Africa. Look, I don't know the answer to this. I would encourage you not to listen to what the media is saying, but to talk to South Africans themselves. I did read that apparently white farmers constitute 0.05 to 0.15% of South Africa's population. So it's around 50,000 white farmers, let's say, out of 60 million people. And yet their murders, which are 40 to 50 a year, constitute almost 90% of farm murders. So farmers that are being murdered, 90% of them are white. And so therefore there are concerns about this. And this is what Trump was calling out. He was asking for accountability and confronting the president, but the media used one particular word. Let me show you this little clip that was put together of a US media coverage. See if you can figure out what the word was.
In the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Up next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
To Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush.
Well, Katie, I mean, it was an ambush.
Ambush.
Ambushed.
Ambush.
An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval.
Yeah, can you figure out what the word was? And I looked at New Zealand media coverage. Whoop! Ambush. And in fact, I forced myself to watch just a little bit of One News and 3 News last night. Both of them used the word ambush. It's the narrative. And look, the point is, when you're talking to people in there, giving you information, one of the best questions you can ask is, where did you get your information from? if they say, oh, I saw it on the news, or I heard it on the radio, or I saw it in the media, then you know you're up for a discussion and some fact-finding and some fact-checking. In fact, just speaking of that, the latest data has come out about the news coverage of Trump in the United States. I mean, this would be the same data in New Zealand as well. 92% negative coverage of Donald Trump from the major news outlets. And you may be saying, well, the media will be negative to every politician. They'll be holding everybody to account. 90% negative to Trump. Guess what it was for Biden's 4 years at the same time? 60% positive. So only 40% negative. So that's kind of the Trump derangement syndrome coming through thick and fast, isn't it? And you could do that same survey in New Zealand media and get the same result as well. Rightio, I think I've covered it all, and we are heading into the weekend, so we need to get into the weekend as soon as possible. Hope you have a great day. We'll be back Monday morning with Daybreak and another week of shows to keep you busy. And also, I hope you are scheduling yourself to be at the Forum on the Family on August 28th and 29th. Got a great lineup of speakers. Let me just check a couple of comments. Philippa says, young people at high school will also tell you it's a social contagion. This is around the mental health and gender dysphoria. Also, going on puberty blockers stops them getting periods. I've been told that's apparently a great reason to go on them. Yes, that's true. And they don't like the development of breasts as well. I've heard testimonies on that. Entity Kingdom, in regard to the residential brothels, just put up cameras for security everywhere. That will sort out the clients turning up. Yeah, also taking number plate numbers. That worked for residential homes. We got families to do that, and that quickly, and maybe putting them on the local website or the Facebook group of the community. That always helps as well. Dean says that there's a central hotel in Napier where it is happening, which is a bit of a worry. Robert says poor Cecil, which is the president of South Africa, was ambushed like a white Boer sleeping in his bed. Negan says everyone gets the same script, and lots of good mornings from all around the country. All right, we're out of time. Let's get into the weekend. Have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday morning, same time. Bye.